This morning about that using or reusing or bringing back to life old rail lines.
Lots of people would look forward to that, I think. Last week, we found out that Tesco plans to remove tons of plastic from its shelves. Today, it's the turn of Sainsbury's to make a big climate pledge. Victoria's got the details and also some food. Go on.
I do, yes. Good morning to you. I mean, everything has really stepped up a gear, hasn't it, when it comes to climate change and what the pledges are from different companies. I mean, we've had David Attenborough and his warnings. We've had climate change strikes all of last year. Greta Thunberg as well and her campaign. The supermarkets realise that they only make money when they listen to their customers and they do and they're selling the stuff and they're providing the services that people want to buy and want to use. So I suppose it's probably no surprise that we're seeing lots of pledges and targets coming out from these companies. I just want to update you on what's going on with Sainsbury's because they've made a big pledge today. Now, back in March of last year, Greenpeace, the environmental charity, said that Sainsbury's was number 10 of the big supermarkets when it comes to plastic policies. They were in last place. They said that their pledges weren't that great and there were only a small number of targets. They were so appalled by all this that they actually rebranded Sainsbury's big slogan, "Live well for less," to this. Couldn't care less. And this sparked quite a lot of media traction last year. So Sainsbury's got its act together and started changing various things. And they came up with one pledge, which was to cut plastic packaging by 50%. They also decided to start introducing reusable bags, which for things like loose vegetables and fruit and all that kind of thing. And those two pledges together meant that it went from 10th, leapfrogged all the way over to 3rd place. And this was when Greenpeace did the survey again in November of this year. But the verdict is still very much that this business could do better. Could they do things like the refill stations that we're seeing at Asda? They're trialling that at the moment, where you go in and you can get your loose coffee or rice or pasta. Or maybe, you know, the pledge that you were just talking about, like the Tesco pledge with the multi-packs of tins. Why are they still packaging around that as well? So there are still the various things that they could be doing that their competitors are already looking at.
So what are they looking at?
Well, their big pledge today is something called net zero. They want to be a net zero business by 2040. What on earth is a net zero business? Well, there's actually no agreed definition of what net zero actually means, despite the fact that the government wants to be net zero by 2050, so 10 years later. The whole idea is that there's no net impact on the climate from greenhouse emissions from a business. So part of that is going to be cutting back on carbon emissions, and part of that is kind of carbon removal processes, things like planting trees. So it's a kind of a combination of those two things. In practice, for a business like Sainsbury's, that means rethinking how they do chilling and storage and all that kind of stuff, because that's really energy intensive, how much water they're guzzling, and how much food waste they're generating as well, because that's a big aspect for the business as well. And like I said, they're also planning to halve all their plastic pollution and plastic packaging by 2025, so only 5 years away from now.
Some big promises. I mean, what are the chances of that actually happening and being successful with that?
Well, you know what? They've put aside £1 billion already for this, and it's not just a press release. They publish plans, pages and pages of plans for all of this. But the big question is whether or not they've got a mountain to climb when it comes to their own climate goals. We did pop in, which is why I've got all the food here, into the store to have a look and see what they're offering customers. And I just wanted to start with these croissants, as it is breakfast. Now, Sainsbury's report that's already removed plastic bags from bakery and loose produce on the counters. It says they're saving 290 million bags and 489 tonnes of plastic a year. We found that was the case, but we bought 2 loose croissants here for 75p each, so £1.50 for the 2. But if you were to buy these ones next to them into the plastic, they're 20p cheaper. So, you know, it's slightly tricky what's going on here. They're still doing the multi-pack of tins here. They've got these, but these bags will cost you 30p. So how many people are going to decide not to put in a few more apples in the bag if the choice is a bit more food or a better bag to put them in? So it's very difficult, and there's a big question around how much all of this is going to cost and who it's going to cost. Is it going to be the customers, the shareholders? We've got the boss on in about an hour.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. My problem with the bags is I forget to take them back, to put them back in again. But anyway, that is what happens in my house. Thank you very much.
Are they up for grabs, too?
Not yet, apparently. I've already
give me an
checked.
hour. I'm going to wave them at Mike Coop in about an hour, and then after that, they're yours.
Thank you.
They look very nice.
You're watching Breakfast from BBC News. Let's get the news, the travel and the weather wherever you're watching.